Good morning, Trevor Jones here. This morning I am going to be attending a training course via the Altron Bytes People Solutions training service called Go to Class, underwritten by the application called Go to Training. First things first, I should have received an email registration request from the instructor. I see here it is, Trevor Jones. Let's have a look at the email message. Right, Trevor Jones, please register for ITIL version 4 student perspective on Monday. There looks like that would be the registration URL. This course provides IT leaders a little bit of a course description, I think. We find that there is a link to test my ability to attend the training as well. Let's see if we do that, and let's go ahead and register for the training. Right, name of the course, company, contact organizer, I guess will allow me to email the organizer. I would imagine that would be Trevor Jones. Date that it's going to run, 9 o'clock to 10 a.m. My time zone is correct, so my first name here will be Trevor, and my last name I think I will make student, and then the email address that I'll use for this training will be trevorhj@hotmail.com. My personal address, as opposed to my Altron address, we'll go ahead and register for the training. Seems simple enough. Gives me a confirmation. Great, I'm registered. Again, I can contact the organizer, looks like via email. Some confirmation regarding the date. I can add it to my calendar quickly if I wanted to. So I should be able to open that ICS file and register it in my calendar. I see that I have questions or comments. Okay, this is definitely the organizer, and at the bottom over here it has some tasks to be performed before the training commences. It looks like there's a pre-course assessment that needs to be done, and a course outline that I can download. I think let's start off by getting hold of the course outline. Always important to see what training I'm actually supposed to be on. Just to confirm that I have been registered for the correct training, of course. So there's the course outline, ITIL 4 Foundation, course overview, yes, what you'll learn, outline. Yes, everything looks appropriate. This is indeed the course that I've been registered for. Let's go ahead and close that. And now I think I'll try and do the pre-course assessment. Let's do that pre-course assessment quickly. Right, it looks like a pretty standard assessment, questions, answers, a couple of pages to complete. Let's see what we have. Kindly complete the following assessment by selecting the best answer for each question. Right, let's do this quickly. How does categorization of incidents, maybe that one. Which value chain activity creates service components, would be that, I guess. What is the definition of warranty? We'll do that. Identify the missing word in the following sentences. Probably protect. Which two need, share, change, control? Need. I think that over here it would be 3 and 4. But let's make a mistake and say that it's 1 and 2. Go next. Which value chain includes negotiation of contracts? Must be engaged. What is the purpose of the service desk practice? I think I should zoom a little bit. I didn't put my glasses on this morning. So just control and mouse wheel up. Which is the purpose of the service desk practice? To reduce the likelihood and impact. No, I think that would be incident management. To maximize the number of success, that would be change control. To capture demand for, that sounds appropriate. Which ITIL concept describes governance? Service value system, perhaps, having a guess there. Which practice is the responsibility of everybody in the organization? Everybody, continual improvement. How does service request management contribute to obtain and build? Service request management, it analyzes, ensures it requests pre-approved service components, obtain and build. I guess that should be appropriate. And that's it, 10 questions in the pre-course assessment. Let's submit. Right, looks like the instructor wanted me to be able to see the result. Oh, 90 out of 90%. How does categorization looks right? And here's the one where I thought of showing you the incorrect answer. So I did get back the answers. Everything looks appropriate. So I guess I'm done with the test. We go back to my registration. Hopefully I would have added this to my calendar so I would get a reminder the day of the training. It's still a little bit early, I think. The training is only to start at 9 o'clock. I'll log back in probably around about 8:30 or 8:45, just to be a little bit early for the training. Perhaps the instructor opens the class early and we can get some introductions done. Right, it's now been an hour since the training is finished, and I've received the post-training notification, the email notification. Thank you for attending the ITIL Foundation Student Perspective training, and it looks like the instructor has made available some post-course documentation and another assessment. I think this post-course evaluation, I think I have done that. Let's go and have a quick look. Yes, this is the one that I did directly after the training. So in case somebody cancelled it, the instructor decided to send it with an email notification as well. And the one I'm really after is this one. It's the ITIL Foundation post-course assessment. I would imagine that it looks very similar to the pre-course assessment. So post-course assessment, blah, 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 blah. Looks like we have a couple of pages of that. I wonder, let's see if we can navigate back and forth. Yes, we can. All right, so first question. A service provider describes a package, blah, blah, blah. It must be a service offering. What should be included in every service level agreement? The defined outcomes. What are the two types of cost removed and cost imposed? Which is the benefit of using an IT service management tool? Blah, blah, blah. I guess that one looks okay. Again, I'm going to make a mistake just to show you what that would look like. What is the first step of the guiding principle? Focus on value. It would have to be determine who the service consumer is. But let's go for A just to get it wrong. Which practice provides a single point of contact for users? Must be service desk. What is a standard change? That because it's been pre-authorized. Which guiding principle recommends organizing work into smaller, manageable, progress iteratively? Which is not a key focus of the information and technology dimension? Roles, because that would be with organization, would be with organization and people. Which is recommended of the continual? There should be a small team, all improvements, continue, should be isolated from other, should be excluded. All improvements should be managed as Malta. There should be a small team dedicated to leading. I guess that one makes the most sense. So let's submit it. And we get back our result. There's the one that I purposefully marked as incorrect. The rest of them seem to be fine. Yes, that looks like everything that our instructor wanted us to do as part of the training. Let's finish reading the email. Please complete. We did that assignment. We did that before. Yes, and that concludes a student perspective of Go to Training. I hope you found it to be useful. Now that I've registered successfully, I see I have received a registration confirmation. I am going to test my device's capabilities to see if I will be able to connect to a Go to Training session. So I'll select the link. Join a test session, and let's see. By joining, yes, click the join button below. If you see waiting, if you do not reach the waiting screen and there's an issue along the way, make sure you meet all the system requirements. Test your webcam, test your mic. Right, let's see if we can join the session. Something happening over here. Connecting to go to meeting. Starting the app. Looks like we have been able to join the GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, and GoToTraining. Join the computer or phone. Do you want to? I guess we'll be using the computer. Save and continue. Choose your mic and speakers. Correct mic and then speakers. Let's see. Very loud, but we can certainly hear some sound. Let's save and continue. My webcam. Trevor Jones, the student. Let's go. Okay, I'm ready for this. Okay, I'm ready. Right, it looks like everything is working and I will be able to attend the session. Let's exit. And all we have to do now is wait for 8:30, 8:45, and then I'll join the actual training session. Right, it's 8:45. Training is supposed to start at 9 o'clock. I have a reminder here. Let me just make sure. Training, blah, blah, blah. Test your connection. We've already done. And yes, 9 o'clock. Training is supposed to start at 9 o'clock. So I'm a little bit early, but let's join and see if the instructor has started the session yet. Something happening. There we go. Right, ITIL student perspective. The meeting will begin when the organizer arrives. It seems that the instructor hasn't quite started the training session yet. We'll give him a few minutes. He'll probably start it at 5 to 9. Usually instructors start the training session anything from 30 minutes to 15 to 30 minutes prior to the training commencing. Right. Right, looks like the instructor has started the training session. Trevor Jones, organizer, Trevor Jones, the presenter. Yes, that looks fine. I'm going to use my microphone. Currently, I see my microphone is disabled. Honestly, I really have nothing to say at this point in time, so no reason to enable my microphone. I can view his session in full screen mode if I wanted to. I guess I can do that. And probably escape to put it back into windowed mode. I can share my webcam if I want to. So all I'm doing now is I'm waiting for the instructor to start the training session. He will probably need to go ahead and share his desktop. Yes, I see a windowed mode now. This is the instructor sharing his desktop. Good morning and welcome. He wants to do a poll, then a little bit of an intro. He wants me to download some sample papers, and it seems that there's something that needs to be done after the training. This is great. I have it in windowed mode, so I can still work on my desktop in the background if I wanted to. Alternatively, what I can do is I can go ahead and put it into full screen mode. Full screen mode works really well if you have multiple monitors. Seems that the instructor has shared his webcam. Hi, I'm the trainer and I'm the student. Usually what the instructor will do is he'll stop sharing the webcam when there are bandwidth constraints. Right, I can share my webcam if I wanted to. And of course, if the instructor shares his webcam, I now have the ability to manipulate how I want the webcams to display. I can change it from a simple display to a multiple display. Of course, if I wanted to, I could minimize the webcam or completely hide the webcams. It's still displaying to other students. I'm simply not viewing it. And of course, what I could also do is I could take my webcam and I could undock it and move it onto a separate monitor if I wanted to. For this demo, the webcams aren't necessary, so I'm going to stop sharing my own webcam being the student webcam. And of course, as the instructor, I'll stop sharing the instructor webcam as well. For most of the training, I am going to leave the instructor microphone disabled. That way I won't get too much feedback. And let's see what the instructor does as far as the training is concerned. The first thing that I think he wanted to do was send me a poll. A poll is a set of questions, just to a question with a few answers just to gauge the attention of the audience. So we'll wait for the instructor to launch the poll. Right, now I'm supposed to select one of the answers over here, but I seem not to be able to select it. Now I've had this problem before, and you'll notice that when I simply escape, it refreshes the page, and I'm able to now go ahead and select an answer and go and submit that answer. So there, the poll has now been submitted. And now we're waiting for the instructor to close the poll. And if he wanted to, he would go ahead and he would share the results of the poll. This is a great way to interact with students periodically. Really, it's there to ensure that we continuously engage with our students. So I'll hide the results, which should bring me back to the instructor desktop again. I'll just maximize it. I find maximizing, especially if you have two monitors, works quite well from the student perspective. I am acting as student and instructor, so it's really difficult to do two things at the same time. But what I am going to do is I'm going to play you a recording of some training that I have done with GoToTraining as the introduction to the training course. Welcome to Altron Bytes People Solutions and our ITIL version 4 foundation training course. My name is Trevor Jones, and I'll be entertaining you over the next 2 days or so. During day 1, we will look at key concepts of service management. We will have to explore value creation, outcomes, costs, and risks. We'll further look at services and service relationships. Then we will explore the 4 dimensions of service management, the ITIL service value system, and the activities associated with the service value chain. Then we will have a look at the nature and use of the guiding principles. During day 2, we'll have a look at selected ITIL practices and some key terms associated with those practices. There are 37 practices. We only have to explore 17 of those practices. They will be categorized as service management practices, general practices, and technical practices. ITIL is like a living organism. It is continuously evolving. Therefore, the ITIL of yesterday, being 2011, is not the same as the ITIL of today, being 2019. Right, we've progressed from ITIL version 3 to ITIL version 4. We've seen huge changes to technologies, to markets, and therefore ITIL has had to adapt to those changes. We have moved away from a process-driven approach to managing services to a more holistic view of those services and how those services create value for its stakeholders. We've moved away from a fragmented life cycle approach to a more end-to-end view of those services. We've moved away from major releases of services to continuously trying to improve those services. And we're trying to break down operational silos to a more flexible flow of value for our consumers. Principles will play a central theme to ITIL version 4. And we will explore these principles in upcoming modules. Key concepts of service management. The purpose of this module is to understand the key terms and concepts of service management. Some of the terms and concepts that we will explore are organizations, service providers, service consumers, and other stakeholders, and their relationship to each other. Products and services, and the relationship between products and services. The nature of value and value co-creation. What is value? And what role does the provider and the consumer play in co-creating value? We will explore service relationships, and we will explore value in the context of outcomes, costs, and risks. Before we do anything else, however, we need to clearly define what service management is. It is a set of specialized organizational capabilities for enabling value for customers in the form of services. Now, this is quite a mouthful, and I find it to be particularly useful to take a very difficult concept and turn it into a picture. So if I were to do this for service management, I would place at the one end of my picture the idea of value. All organizations exist to generate value for its stakeholders. This is true no matter the type of organization. Whether you are a public enterprise, whether you are a private organization or a non-profit organization, you need to generate value for your stakeholders. That value generally takes the form of one of three things. Outcomes. All organizations generate value by supporting the outcomes they want to achieve. Optimizing costs. Optimizing risks. Now, organizations have any number of assets which they apply to achieving value. And these assets can broadly be defined or categorized as resources. The easiest way to think of a resource is that it's something you can touch and feel. In the case of me trying to generate value for you as students, the resources I'm utilizing would be our video recording equipment, our classroom, the applications that we use to edit and produce the recordings, and capabilities. Capabilities would be our experience in performing these activities, the knowledge of our instructor, the structure of our organization. So what organizations try to do is they try to take these assets and mix and match them in such a way so that they can deliver value to their stakeholders. And the way they mix and match these assets are in the form of producing products and services. So we'll naturally need to explore the difference and association between products and services. In a perfect world, organizations will get this right all of the time. However, we do not live in a perfect world, and there are many things that affect our ability to deliver services and products that ultimately help our stakeholders achieve value. These things are called constraints. Examples of constraints might be something like a schedule, where there just isn't enough time to be able to deliver and produce these products and services. Another constraint might be a financial constraint, where we just don't have sufficient funding, or it's just not currently included in our budgets. Right. So if we revisit our definition of service management, a set of specialized organizational capabilities for enabling value for customers in the form of services. So, service management should ultimately provide us with the capability to overcome constraints and therefore deliver valuable products and services to our customers. So let's explore services and products further. A service is a means of enabling value co-creation by facilitating outcomes that our customers want to achieve, without our customers having to assume and manage specific costs and risks associated with those services. A product is a configuration of an organization's resources designed to offer value for a customer. From these two definitions, it is clear that services cannot exist without products. A good example of this is perhaps shopping at Woolworths. Woolworths delivers products to its customers, but to be able to deliver those products to customers, Woolworths consumes services and also provides services to their customers. A service that Woolworths consumes would be a credit facility offered to it by a financial institution, while a service offered to its customers would indeed also be a credit facility offered to customers so that customers can purchase the products that Woolworths has to offer. And that is what a training session through GoToTraining would look like. If at any time during the training I have a question, I can simply go ahead and raise my hand, and this will indicate to the instructor that I do indeed have a question. What I could also do is I could expand my control frame, and I can send a message to the instructor, Trevor Jones over there. And the instructor would then go ahead and respond. The instructor may also want to distribute some documentation. To be able to do that, the instructor can simply ask you to download it from the material section from your control panel by selecting it and saving a local copy. Alternatively, the instructor may decide to share a document with a subset of students in the training session. If he decides to do that, the following will be presented to the student. Students can now collaborate on the document or decide to download the document appropriately. When the instructor has decided that sufficient time has elapsed, he can go ahead and end sharing of the document. and continue with the training. The instructor seems to have made available some post-course work. I'm now going to end the training session, and in an hour or so I should receive an email with the post-course work outlined. It seems the instructor has made available a post-course evaluation. Let's do that quickly. Of course, me being the instructor, I will rate myself 5 for everything. Let's submit. And that ends the training session.